destroy. I will raise up a standard and not become the status quo. I will walk in the fullness of the love of the Holy Spirit. I have overcome.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Thank you for joining me today for another episode of She Emerged, the Manifestation of Me. I'm your host, Shalimar, and welcome. Wow, it's been a long couple of weeks. I pray that you all are well, and that the summer, although here in New Jersey we are trying to beat the heat, but that you are enjoying these summer months. Time is just flying by. We are in month number 7. We are more than halfway through 2021. To God be the glory. We're all here. Lord have mercy. It's going by like so fast. Time is really just not waiting for us. So today, let's just get right into our topic. For the last conversation that we had, we discussed and have been discussing for a few weeks now how the traumas of the past, of our mothers, of our grandmothers, and those before us have greatly affected us, and to some degree have destroyed some of us, especially in the African American community. So, Lord have mercy, it was such a daunting conversation. What I want to say this conversation is in no way an insult or a segue into demeaning or taking away from the things, the accomplishments of our elders and those that have come before us, because we truly do stand on their shoulders. What this conversation is for, from me, my goal is a segue into the next generation, for us to pick up the mantle and move forward where they left off, for us to open up a broader dialogue and empower one another to be more open and more vocal, because in previous generations, they did not feel as if they had the liberty to do so. And their focus was different. Their struggles were different. And so with a new generation comes a new way of thinking and a new way of doing things, but still built in and on the foundation that they left for us, because it was not all bad. And so I just wanted to clarify that, because I don't want anybody to take this as an excuse to take anything away from them, because that's not fair. They had different resources. Their traumas were very different. The way they handled things were very different. And so we have the opportunity to do things in a different way. And I feel like we should empower one another to do it that way, so that we could take this world to another level, the next level, but still paying homage to and giving credit to those that have come before us. Because although my grandmothers, and I'm going to speak for me, they had some of the generational issues and traumas, and some of these generational curses fell upon them, but they were still very strong women. I will always give credit where credit is due. These women handled their business. One grandmother had 6 children. One grandmother had 7 children. My maternal grandmother raised all of her children from a wheelchair. She was a paraplegic. She was shot at the age of 23, and she still went on and managed to raise her children as best she could with the tools that she had. She was the first handicapped woman to graduate from Brookdale Community College here in New Jersey. She had her hand on all of her grandchildren. My father's mother worked, built a life, purchased a home, built a brand on her own. So these women, to me, still deserve to be celebrated. It is because of their strength and their tenacity and their sheer will to survive that we are here. And so, yes, they are do that honor that we give them. However, it is time for us to kick things up a notch. And when you know better, you do better. And so we know better. We have different tools. We have different platforms. We have different resources that they did not have. So continue to honor our elders, absolutely. But it's time for us to move forward and empower and encourage one another in a way that has not been previously done. Okay? So, with that being said, whew, we've had for me, a long, stressful couple of weeks talking about this subject, and especially when you are, going through your healing journey. Um, and so today is an encouragement day. I have this wonderful, wonderful book by Joyce Meyer. It is a devotional, and it's the Confident Woman devotional. My husband got this for me a few years ago, and I think that this um, devotional is amazing. And so there was a devotional in February that talked about confidence and how it's contagious. And so, I'm always a person, like one of my biggest references is fire. Um, the fires of life that tried to consume me, um, I was able to push through and not become consumed by the fire, but I embraced and became a fire. And in the will of God, and became on fire and became ignited. Um, and my soul and my spirit has become ignited to do better and do things in His will and encourage and empower another generation. And so instead of being consumed by the fire, I simply became it. Um, and fire is catching, it spreads. And so one of my prayers is that this fire, um, this fire that I was able to just walk in, becomes catching and catches on to somebody out there, and they become ignited and on fire with a strong desire to heal and become whole and be better and change the forecast and break some generational curses and heal from some traumas and break and kill and destroy some generational traumas. So when I say let's be on fire, that is what I mean, because fire is catching and it is contagious. Um, but in order for it to continue to burn and to spread, you have to spread it. And so, although it may start with me on this platform, my prayer is that you will start your own platform and we will continue to spread, encourage, and empower. Um, and so, with that, confidence is also contagious. One thing I learned, I went through a period where I felt like nobody loved me, nobody liked me. Oh my God, these people are not going to embrace me. Nobody respects me, my vision. Um, and God started sending me words and people to sow into me and pour into me. And I think I spoke about this on a previous episode, how I went to this women conference. And when I say these women ignited my soul, the fire has started to smolder a little bit, because when you're in a faith walk and you start getting stressed out and it's like, oh my God, he's left me. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm really built for this. God, please make it plain to me that it's really you. And you start to question everything. And although He has given you the answers, you start to question yourself, because you may have come across a naysayer, or somebody who doesn't want to believe in your vision for their own reasons, or maybe they just can't see it. But the truth of the matter is they don't need to. I saw something on social media one day, I think it was Instagram, and it said, other people don't need to know and understand the vision that God gave you, or the calling on your life. Lord have mercy, it's thundering and it's bright as sun outside. We're in the middle of a heat wave in Jersey. But anyway, but they don't need to know and understand, because you know what? It wasn't a conference call. When He called you, He didn't call them. And He also didn't ask them to validate, because He had already done that. And so I found myself discouraged, and like, oh my goodness, is this really happening? I have a book, this podcast, a vlog. Am I really being effective? Because for me, I want it to be effective. I want this to catch fire and burn down every generational curse and trauma that has touched any of our lives. That is my prayer. And so I started to question, and he made some things, plain to me. People can smell your fear, they can see it, and they will often prey on it. People respond to you the way that, based on the energy that you give off. So if you walk in fear, then people will not respect your vision. They will not respect your calling. People see and respond to how you carry yourself and how you move. So if God gave you something, that fire that burns down on the inside, that calling that burns down on the inside, if God gave it to you, then you walk in it. You must come into alignment with who God has called you to be. And that is a word that I received when I went to this conference. When I say these women got all the, and I didn't know them. I knew maybe one, I'd seen before. But the one thing that stood out to me was I had to get in alignment with where God had called me to be, with the calling that He had given on my life. I acknowledged it. I knew that this is what I was supposed to be doing. I knew that I had to. I was supposed to share my story. I knew that I was supposed to be candid about my life, and I knew why. Because there is a generation that needs to know and needs to hear our voices. They need to know that the things that they're going through, or have gone through, or may go through are not exclusive to them. And so I was aware, and I started to operate in it because I was being obedient, but I wasn't in alignment with it. And so I had to make a conscious decision and commitment to be in alignment with the call on my life, with what God had asked me to do, with what I was supposed to be doing, with the thing that gave me joy, with the thing that brought me happiness, the thing that brought me satisfaction and made me feel like I was accomplishing something, that I was living and not just existing. And once I got into alignment with those things, it was like a renewed encouragement. And so today I want to encourage you to get into alignment with that place that you're being called to, with that desire that burns in you. Don't be intimidated. Don't be afraid to open your mouth and speak, because what God has for you is for you. And He will make it plain to you. And it's not for anybody else to understand, validate you, pat you on the back, say, hey, good job. You don't really need that. Is it good to have for the human side of you? Absolutely. Is it necessary? Absolutely not. Because if God called you, He qualified you. He does not call the qualified. He qualifies the called. And so if it is meant for you to do, it will all work out in the end. Now, is it going to be work? Absolutely. It is work to do this. It is work to get up every day, record these episodes, pray and get a download, to have something to give you that's going to be encouraging, empowering, educational, make sense, and not just on here just talking, to be talking, to manage the podcast, to manage the web pages, a service, and I'm not getting paid. So this is work. Whatever the vision is, it will take work. But be encouraged that it's going to all work out for your good if He gave it to you. When you walk in confidence and right alignment, it shows. It will ooze from you. It will exude from you, even in your missteps, because you won't always get it right. I don't always get it right. There are moments when I know I need to do episodes that I'm struggling with, like, I don't really want to say that, or I don't have nothing to say at all. And I have to rely on and trust that He's going to give me what I need to give to you, because it's for His glory, not mine. And that's a faith walk. And so you just have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with you, and believing you, and believing God for what it is that he will have you to do. And when you start to move in confidence and encourage, um, it is catching like fire. And you will inspire and encourage others and touch their lives. And those assigned to you will begin to move. And you'll create a stirring. And you start to stir people up. And I'm excited about the stir because God is starting to show me that I'm stirring people up. I'm stirring something up down on the inside, to empower them to be their best selves, to empower them to do the things that they thought they couldn't do. Um, it's strange to me because I'm a regular girl. I'm an ordinary girl trying to do extraordinary things. So when people approach me and they say, I love you, I can identify with your story. I appreciate you being candid and open and honest. Um, your podcast is amazing. Your video blog is amazing. I'm like blushing and uncomfortable, like, okay. And I have to adjust to that. Um, but it's God's way of telling me you are moving in the direction that I'm sending you in. I'm ordering your steps and you're walking the path that I've ordered you to walk in. And a lot of times we get stuck in those things, those negative things that we've been talking about for the past couple of weeks that, broken people have spoken over our lives, or our parents and grandparents who didn't heal from their traumas. And so they passed down that negative energy and they've bled all over us. And you get stuck in that and you start to believe that those things are true. But the devil is a liar. And it's a lie. Those things, that's not true. That's not who you are. That's not who God calls you to be. That's not who he designed you to be. He did not create us to fail. And you shall live. Oh, one of my sister friends loves this song that you're going to live to see it happen. And you're going to live to see it happen as long as that's what you desire and you put that before the Father and that's what he desires for you. But you got to want it. You have to want to be better. I wanted to be better. I was tired. I was tired of hurting. I was tired of crying. I was tired of feeling like a loser. I was tired of feeling like I wasn't accomplishing anything because I always had this feeling that there had to be something greater and bigger than this. I love being a mom. I love being a wife. Um, those are two of my biggest accomplishments. I love being a nurse. I'm learning to embrace being an author and a personality, if that's what you want to call it. But this is a different feeling. It feels effective. It feels like I'm making an impact, like I'm changing lives, like I'm changing lives just by being honest and open about the things that I've survived. And that's a different level of joy, so to speak. And so when you get into alignment and acceptance with the things that you know you should be doing, that is what Launch the Vision, sis, is. You know, launch the vision, walk in it because it's yours. And you don't need anyone's permission to be. You don't need anybody's permission other than the Father to launch the vision. You don't need other people's validation because he will make it plain to you when you're ready. And he will give you the strategy on how to move because that is who he is. He'll never send us out into the world unprepared. He will always give us what we need, even if it's in the moment that we need it. And he's calling forth a generation of people, and women especially, to meet people where they are, to get down in the mud with them. Now, listen, we're not staying there. And I've said that again. We're not going to stay down there in the mud with you now. But we will get down there with you, roll around a little bit, help you, pull you up, get you clean. But that is what I feel in my heart, that he is calling forth a generation of us to get down in the mud with the people, meet them where they are, pull them up. I'm never going to look back ever again unless it's to make sure that I'm pulling one of my sisters or all of my sisters along with me, because no sister should be left behind. No person should be left behind. The same grace that God extended to us, we need to be extending to other people. We need to not be crucifying them for their mess, but rather teaching them to use that mess to cultivate a message. So your confidence is contagious. And like fire, it is catching. And when you live in fear, whew, honey, fear can actually and will make you sick. Being fearful it makes you anxious. Can set off all kinds of mental illness bells and whistles. Depression can set in, anxiety, panic attacks. Um, it's just not healthy to live that way and be tense and nervous and uncomfortable all the time. Um, you know, and a lack of self confidence shows. And so when we blame people, and I'm speaking about myself, when we blame people for how they treat us, for how they respond to us, for how they support us, we have to take responsibility that we kind of fed them the energy to treat us that way. Because had we presented ourselves differently, they would have handled us and responded to us differently. And so when we start to embrace the positive and work on and heal from the negative, it shows. Honey, your skin get clear, your eyes get brighter, you feel cute, you be feeling yourself, because I'm feeling myself. You feel different when you start to walk and operate in those things. You want to be different. You expand your mind and your desires and how you see things and how you see the world. Um, your vision becomes clearer, and not just your eyesight. Your vision becomes clearer, and you're able to receive things differently. And so I encourage you on today to cultivate confidence and know and understand that confidence is catching, it is contagious. Um, and operating in fear is also contagious. So you have to choose what you want to pass on to people. You have to choose the level and type of contagious you want to be. Either you want to be the type of contagious that ignites people to do better and be greater, or you want to be the kind of contagious that just brings everybody down around you. And when you choose to be the kind of contagious that is catching in a positive way, and you start to see that your encouragement counts, and you start to see the people that you've helped to propel and move forward, um, I promise you that's a joy like nothing you've ever felt. Um, you know, it, it it can't even really be explained. But we have to stop putting so much value on the things that people say to us. Are they cruel? Absolutely. In our humanness, you have a moment, but you can't stay there. Because once you start to hold on to those things, then you start to reject yourself. And when you start to reject yourself, then it becomes a you problem and not a them problem. Um, and so I pray that you find the strength and confidence to be confident in you. Um, I pray that you're encouraged and inspired by something, by somebody, um, so much so that you take the leap of faith and launch the vision. Um, because it's yours. It's yours to have. And no matter what anyone says, they can't take away what they didn't give. Um, and I want to see it. And you're going to live to see it. And we need it. The world needs it. Um, you know, just like the world needed a me, the world needs a you. And regardless to those things that anyone has said about you, to you, about they, if you don't breathe life into them, then they die. But if you give credence to it, then it becomes credible and it lives. So I want you to be confident, courageous, and let it be contagious. And like fire, let it spread, um, so that you can encourage and empower somebody else. This platform, this um, vision, is not just exclusive to me. Um, it was meant to share with you. And so, I wanted to take a moment or an episode to dedicate to strictly encouraging, because we talked so much about the damage that was done by those that came before us because of their lack of knowledge. But the truth of the matter is, you're here. In spite of all those things, you're here. If you're watching this, you're here. So you know what that means? You have the opportunity to change it. You have the opportunity to redirect it. You have the opportunity to break some generational curses. You have the opportunity to heal from and break some generational traumas. And as long as you have that opportunity and you have the space to do it, then do it. And I hope my confidence and my courage is catching, and I hope it's contagious. And I want you to catch on all of it. And I want to see you guys. I want to hear from you in the comments. I want to know what you're doing. I want to know who you're talking to. If you're writing a book, if you're starting a podcast, if you are starting a video blog, if you're out in your community, just reaching out to people, if you're providing a service, I want to know. I want to know that this is catching, and that it's contagious. And in your confidence, let me just say this. You will have to set healthy boundaries with people that stand to get in the way. You will have to protect your peace. And as you move forward in walking this thing out, there are going to be people, places, and things that you're going to have to leave away from, that you're going to have to shift away from. And that's okay, because everybody cannot go on this journey with you. There were a lot of journeys that Jesus went on and he walked with as well. And what happened? There were portions of the journey where he had to walk it alone for a reason, because they could not go where he was going. That didn't mean that he still didn't consider them. There were just some portions of the journey he had to go alone in order to fulfill the prophecies. And so there are some portions of your journey that you're going to have to walk alone. And that's another area that you need to be confident in. If you're confident in you, you won't necessarily need to be surrounded by a tribe. Your tribe will always be there supporting you, but you should be confident enough that if you should have to move alone, you're okay with that. And the vision doesn't stop because the tribe has to fall back. And also, it might be for their good. There might be some places that they're going that you can't go, because we're not assigned to everybody. My voice is not for everybody. Your voice will not be for everybody. But for those that God has called to hear you, they will hear you. He will ensure that. But you have to have confidence in your calling. And you have to know that confidence is contagious. And so when you are called and you go out into the world and you're speaking and you're encouraging people, if you're not confident in the words that you're speaking, the people will not glean from you. They will not receive from you. They're going to look at you with the side eye like, ma'am, do you even believe the words that are coming out of your mouth? Hence why, confidence is contagious in a lot of different ways. And you want people to be able to glean from you and receive what you're saying. And if you don't truly believe it, they're not going to believe it. And if we're going to change the forecast of the things and those that were trickled down to us, we have to know that confidence, faith, are key components into building a firm foundation into who and what you need to be. Okay? Okay. So Lord have mercy, that was a mouthful, and I'm probably speaking more to myself than I am to you. Now, see how that works? You got to encourage yourself. But just know that what God has for you is for you. Know that what you have been called to do, as long as God has called you to do it, it is going to work out for your good. Lift your head up and walk, move, start your journey, and stop hiding behind fear, because it's not doing anything for you. It's making you anxious and sick and nauseous and, a whole lot of other things that you could probably do without. Listen, Sarah waited a lifetime to do something as simple as give birth. And although she had her moments, she was obedient to what God gave her, even when people laughed at her. So have the confidence of Sarah. And even when people laugh at you, be obedient, because you're going to get your reward. And choose who you want to be. It's a choice, but don't shy away from it, and don't cheat yourself, because it is yours to have. So that is all for today. This is, I wanted to keep it light and simple, and just encourage you. I pray that always that this message is received as it is intended, that you are encouraged and empowered. Fire is catching. And just as I've been ignited and have come into alignment with who I am to be, I pray that you are ignited, and you catch fire and burn it down and become who you are supposed to be. Get in alignment with who you are called to be, and let it be catching. Encourage others. It's time to inspire this generation to be greater than their yesterdays. It is time to encourage this next generation to be bigger and better and bolder than those before us, because they can. They have the freedom to do so, and use their superpowers for good, for great even. As always, the sun rises alone every day and still manages to shine. The moon rises alone every night and still manages to light someone's way. They both shine. They just serve different purposes. Isn't that something? You are loved. You are capable. You are worthy. I pray that you have a great day. I will see you all next time. Thank you for watching. Check out my sister Tamita Brockington's book. It is still out for sale. Marriage is Not a Fairy Tale. And you can get it at tamitabrockington.wixsite.com/website. Also, my other lovely friend, Lisa Tate Stevenson, you can catch her new book, Have You Ever Heard a Butterfly Cry? At www.lisavtatestevenson.org. She also has an awesome line of tees and hoodies and apparel. Queens don't clock in and kings don't either. So go check her out. Subscribe to my channel to keep up with the video vlog. The podcast is available on all digital platforms. Be on the lookout for my book, She Emerged, The Manifestation of Me. Pre-sales have started. The book will be available shortly for purchase, and for full-out purchase, and they'll be shipped out soon for those who pre-ordered. I'm excited. I'm excited for what is to come. And God has got some things on the horizon. Launch the vision, sis. Love you.
More than a conqueror, I am a victor. destroy